It's Wednesday, April 20. In the headline, Prime Minister Andrew Holness gives advice to youth leaders, and the Peter Tosh Foundation is celebrating International Peter Tosh Day. Regionally, students return to face-to-face classes in Trinidad and Tobago. And in sports, primary champs set to start in May. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I am Simone Absalom Gale. The inflation rate for March was 1.6%, with the country closing out the fiscal year with an inflation rate of 11.3%. That's the word from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin. Statin's latest report says inflation in March was spurred mainly by higher food and energy costs. The report says there was a 1.9% increase in the index for food and non-alcoholic beverages, with the food category mainly influenced by higher prices for tomato, cabbage, onion, and sweet pepper. The overall rate of inflation was also influenced by a 3.9% increase in the index for the division housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuel prices, and a 0.6% increase in the index for the transport division. This was caused by higher electricity costs for the period, as well as higher prices for fuels and lubricants. A flash flood warning is now in effect for Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, and St. James, and a flash flood watch for all other parishes. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica issued the warning Tuesday night. A flash flood warning means flooding has been reported and residents in low-lying areas should move to higher ground. A flash flood watch means flooding is possible and residents are advised to take precautionary measures and be ready for quick action if there is flooding or if a warning is issued. Small craft operators, including fishers from the Keys and Banks, are reminded to remain in safe harbor until all warning messages have been lifted and wind and sea conditions return to normal. The warning followed reports that a 12-year-old child and her grandmother were washed away in the Westgate area of Montego Bay, St. James. At news time, the child's body had been recovered by the Marine Police, and that of the adult had not yet been found. Consistency, a sense of responsibility, and drive. Those characteristics are key to youth involvement in the creation of government policy. That was the essence of Prime Minister Andrew Holness's advice to youth leaders striving to make a mark in the nation's development. The Prime Minister's remarks followed that of President of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, at last week's Jamaica Think Forum.
Young people should be ready to learn and to take responsibilities. This one is not going to be handed to you, but rather you make an effort to make sure that you feel that sense of learning and responsibility, which therefore should propel you to that higher level where you take these responsibilities. So government, therefore, and government policies should be also making it easy and sensitive to the fact that everyone needs to feel they are participating or they are represented.
The asset of youth is energy, and you should use that energy to acquire wisdom. And you acquire that wisdom over time by experience. And what we should try to do, the older ones, I'm not included in that, should give the opportunity, but not necessarily the easiest path, to create steps that our youth can trod and elevate themselves, but they must have that energy, that desire, that drive to achieve, experience, and gain wisdom. And that's what we've tried to do, which is why we have made sure that there is an avenue for your participation in an event like this.
Today, the world celebrates 420, International Marijuana Day and International Peter Tosh Day. Peter Tosh, Bob Marley and Bunny Livingston Wailer were the most famous members of the Wailers, which formed in Trenchtown during the early 1960s. This year, Tosh's family is honoring his passion for music and marijuana at the Anderson, a venue in Miami, United States. His daughter, Nyembe Tosh, says the Peter Tosh Foundation, through its Legalize It initiative, is staging the fundraiser to help change the stigma around cannabis and support the continued efforts towards legalization. Fans who attend Wednesday's event will experience live performances from the Resolvers Band and Nyabingi drummers, complemented by recorded selections by Lanso and Walshy Fire. The reggae icon Peter Tosh was murdered at his Kingston home in September 1987. This year marks the 45th year since Tosh's death, but his message of black awareness and advocacy for decriminalization of ganja remain resonant. Marlon Samuels tells us more about his life, death, and legacy.
Winston Hubert McIntosh was born on October 19, 1944 in Westmoreland in unremarkable circumstances, giving no hint to the legend he would become. Once he embarked on a musical career, his stage name became Peter Tosh, and the rest, as they say, is history. Peter Tosh was one of the musical giants that made up the original Wailers, along with Bunny Livingston Wailer and Bob Marley.
The group was formed about 1961, late 1961. We did the first recording about sometime middle 1962, could be early, you know, which was, the first song was Simmer Down.
To say he was multi-talented would be an understatement. He wrote, sang, and played a range of instruments. A great guitarist, he is credited with teaching Bob Marley how to play the guitar. He himself played a guitar in the shape of an M16 rifle, a self-proclaimed rebel, ready to bust lyrical shots on Babylon.
You preacher man, don't tell me heaven is under the earth. You are a duppy and you don't know what life is really worth. It's not all that glitter is gold, and half the history has never been told. And now it's the light, we gonna stand up for our.
He's also an excellent drummer. After the group went their separate ways, he embarked on a solo career and strode dominantly across the international stage.
Mama said, son, you gotta be a man. You got to be the leader of a reggae band. People coming in from miles around to hear you play until the sun goes down.
When Bob Marley died, Peter Tosh inherited his crown, so to speak, as king of reggae, and he was widely proclaimed across the world.
Cause if you come from Clarendon, and if you come from Portland, say if you come from Westmoreland, don't you
Described by many as a poet of utterance and a prophet of the people, Peter Tosh had a deep insight into the realities of life in Jamaica. Tosh never suffered fools, and he also had an irreverence for the status quo.
So if you live in a glass house, you don't throw stones. And if you can't take blows, brother, don't throw blows.
Tosh, I always thought, was significant not only because he really was a fine musician, but more significantly because I think there was an integrity to Tosh's anger about injustice. I think that no matter how famous he became, no matter what he earned, there burnt within him this indignation about what is wrong.
but there will be no peace till man gets equal rights and justice. Yeah, equal rights and justice. Oh,
Peter Tosh was also described as a rebel, a toughest, and a stepping razor.
I'm like a stepping razor. Don't watch my sign. I'm like a stepping razor. Said I'm dangerous.
On September 11, 1987, Peter Tosh and his common-law wife Marlene Brown were entertaining guests. Among them, drummer Carlton Davis and Michael Robinson.
At about 8 o'clock, I was expecting Free-Eye and his queen Joy. They were both coming over to spend the night with me and Peter. While waiting upstairs, I hear a knock at my gate. I was now upstairs with friends and one of Peter's musicians. I said to one of Peter's brethren, Michael, to go downstairs, let in Free-Eye because I'm expecting Free-Eye and Joy. Michael now go downstairs, go through my door, saw one of Peter's friends coming through the gate, but dogs them rush him and rush back right through the gate.
I saw that it was not Free-Eye, but it was somebody who visited the yard regularly.
Who was that somebody?
A brother named Lepo. So he being a regular visitor now, I backed off the dogs and told him and his friends to come in, which they did. And enter in this reception area. Two of them pulled guns and said, "Where is Peter?" Let's lead them upstairs. March upstairs. And we enter the living room area now. They tell everyone face down. And we all responded face down.
Then I said, tall one just come on. I said, Peter, I said, you got dead tonight. So you nobody said nothing. We come to kill you. I read one come over to me and say, you got dead tonight. So nobody say nothing. Just give me all the US dollar when the bring come. I'm not killing her, but give me the US dollar first. So we said to them, say we don't have no money. We just come down, all we have is $200 US. That's all Peter had in the house. So Peter give them the $200 US, tell them to take anything they want, search the house, take anything because we don't have the money, which Peter never have the money. Them search the house, them have us there 15 minutes, them tell us to belly it. No, all of us go down for belly man, because I never want to see them face, the other two guys. Then Lepo him start to talk and say, you say you Marlene, it's you cause it's not Marlene, from Peter, they with you. Peter used to come at jungle, come mind bad man. And now you make Peter stop. And I'm say too damn lie. Everybody know that Bob Marley used to mind bad man, but not Peter Tosh. Peter Tosh is not that type of man. So not because no, Peter Tosh live with a woman who don't want to come those things, say use me as a pass. We say Peter don't want man, you know, because that's what he wants. Him always come and want Peter support him because he walk to every musician here looking for support. Just like Peter Tosh house. Which I don't like him, so I always encourage Peter not to allow this boy to come to the house, because I just don't like him.
JBC radio announcer Jeff Dixon, more popularly known as Free-Eye, and his wife arrived in the middle of the home invasion. They too were told to lie face down by the gunmen.
One of them now said, take the machete now and say, well, let him go and chop off Peter's head. Sister Marlene showed to him that he can't do that. And it's like one of them now starts to, you know, come just deal with or come for deal with, like, you know. We had to argue with the man, we not argue with the man, you know, we just deal with or come for deal with. And then the fire, open fire, the fire single shot first that caught Marley in her head. And then fire 2 more shots at Peter in his head. And then they just open up a barrage of shots on us lying on the ground.
There was a piece of black furniture right beside my head that give me my head a dark look. It pick up 5. My mother for pick up all of them. So when them things to me did, them stop fire. They don't just turn, them start fire again. Watch me, he said me no move, and was turn upon Peter. Bubba the boy, just start turning, shot everybody in circle, go right, round. So I just lay down there because I feel a bullet go through my head, but I feel like it come true. So I said to myself, say, no, something is since I can't trust, I now move. I can wait till they move off, because when them shot, them never move. Then wait a couple minutes, see the body not move, because the body never make a sound. So I said to myself, say, wait, everybody must have farm dead like me. So I wait until I hear like bike start up. I turn light, I see Peter in a pool of blood, Fred in a pool of blood, Doc in a pool of blood.
Doc Brown died on the spot. Peter Tosh died later that night in hospital. Free Eye succumbed to his injuries 3 days later. Miraculously, Marlene Brown and 3 others who received shots to the head lived. All believe robbery was not the motive for the shooting.
I know they were sent. Because the order that they came in that, Peter, you're dead tonight. Me come for kill you. Them come for kill me. Them words that me never forget.
For his national contributions to reggae music, Peter Tosh was given a state funeral. Both artist and activist, his lyrics and life continues to inspire many around the world. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Marlon Samuels.
Have no place for the new mind on the set of vampires.
The New York-based National African American Reparations Commission, NAARC, is set to meet with members of the Caribbean Community CARICOM Reparations Commission on Friday. The NAARC says in its statement that, quote, the 2 commissions will examine the current state of the reparation movements in both the United States and the Caribbean and will explore a number of joint strategies and actions to strengthen the growing global movement in the months and years ahead, end quote. The group was launched in April 2015 when an estimated 200 reparations leaders from 22 countries came together at the International Reparations Summit at York College in New York. Canada is working to improve trade and economic relationships with countries in the region. We'll hear more about this as well as your usual market updates in the Business Report with Danita Rodney.
On Thursday, April 14, the High Commission of Canada, in partnership with the University of the West Indies, hosted a conversation with Canada's Minister of International Trade, Export Promotion, Small Business and Economic Development, Mary Ng. The event was among a schedule of activities under Canada Caribbean Trade Mission, which focused on opportunities to strengthen Canada's trade and economic relations with Guyana, Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago, with a focus on clean growth. The discussion saw separate CEO Richard Pandohi expressing his desire to see the rebuilding of the economy.
If we're going to build back, we're going to have to build back with a very different approach. We should be triggering behavior change that involve people at the center of what we do. The well-being and inclusiveness of people building back. The resilience of a society is going to come from the people. And I think we must have learned that lesson by now, and that is something I think we want to be really strong around.
He also spoke of not looking for handouts, but building our own wealth by investing in our people through quality jobs.
No longer these we should be looking for grants and handouts. We should be looking at how can you help us to build our real wealth. You know, the governments talk about GDP. GDP is just like a profit and loss statement. It's a moment in time. It doesn't measure your real wealth. It's not the only thing that creates a sustainability around the business. Our real wealth is in our balance sheet, and our people, and our society, our inclusiveness is a big part of that. Those are discussions that we need to have. Those are discussions we need to insist upon, because we need to create quality jobs for our people. If we don't, we're going to lose. All these people at UWI, everybody's watching. When you look at the way real wages have risen in the US, for example, their last job report showed that they're their lowest unemployment rate since 1969. You cannot find people of skill sets now in our country. They can move and materially change their life. If we don't build real quality jobs, real quality opportunities for our people to change their trajectory and beat the poverty trap, we will not have a resilient economy.
It was a statement that Minister Ng wholeheartedly agreed with.
I agree with you fully that as we build back better, it has to be with people at the center and at the heart of it so that economic prosperity yields to people.
In foreign exchange trading for Tuesday, April 19, the US dollar sold for an average of $155.61. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $123.41. The pound sterling traded for $202.66, and the euro sold for an average of $169.02. The following reflects the movement of the JSE indices in Tuesday's trading session. The JSE index advanced by 996 points to close at over 300,000 units. The junior market index advanced by 15 points to close at over 4,000 units. The combined market index advanced by 1,070 points to close at over 400,000 units, and the All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by 1,364 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 111 stocks, of which 48 advanced, 41 declined, and 22 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, 1834 Investments Limited, and 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Variable Preference. Stocks declined for Access Financial Services Limited, Berger Paints Jamaica Limited, and Blue Power Group Limited. Trading firm were Carreras Limited, Everything Fresh Limited, and First Rock Capital Holdings Limited USD. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited was the volume leader with over 5 million units, followed by Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited USD with over 4 million units, and Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 2 million units. In regional stocks on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, Clico Investment Fund was the sole security trading over 68,000 shares. The Barbados Stock Exchange saw Goddard Enterprises Limited as a sole security trading 91 shares. In regional business in Trinidad and Tobago, there are concerns being expressed that gas station owners and dealers may earn less as prices continue to rise. TTT Live has the story.
The rise in prices at fuel pumps may see gas station owners and dealers earn less. One gas station owner-operator, Rival Chattagoon, explained why ownership, inclusive of upkeep, currently seems to be a losing business.
And having the largest investment in terms of operation expenses, we actually make the least amount because, it's all ours, so all liabilities, all expenses is also ours as well.
The expenses include minimum wage and employee contributions, which Mr. Chattagoon said rose from $12,000 to $25,000 from 2005 to 2016, without any raise in the margin owner-operators are allowed to make. He also cited an issue with debit and credit card payments.
Understand when you use your Links card. Your Links card, the bank takes 75 cents on that. Plus you use a phone call, which is $1. As a liter, I make 27 cents. So that means, assuming that we have no business leave, we have no operation, that I need to sell at least 4 liters or 5 liters to break even.
In market data for oil prices rebounded this morning as a drop in U.S. oil inventories and concerns over tighter supplies from Russia and Libya drove a recovery from the previous session's losses. Brent crude rose $1.46 or 1.4% to $108.71 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate crude rose $1.50 or 1.5% to $104.06 a barrel. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, a mixture of fear and excitement on Tuesday morning as over 200,000 students returned to the physical classroom for the start of the new school term in Trinidad and Tobago. TTT Live has the story.
Early childhood care and education centers, primary and secondary schools, and tertiary level institutions are back for in-person classes, some for the first time since March 2020. Some parents who spoke with TTT News expressed concern about their children's safety at school in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic.
My son intermingling with students today is very difficult because he's only in standard 1 and he really doesn't intermingle with children. So him coming out today, I am kind of scared.
I trust the Barataria Anglican. I know they're trying, and I know we'll have to help them along the way as much as we can as parents. But I think as long as this virus is around and my son his age group hasn't been vaccinated, so that in itself is a bit challenging.
Some mothers said they will vaccinate their children when pediatric vaccines become available for the 5 to 11 age group. Other parents remained apprehensive, and some children were eager to return to the physical classroom. One father with his sons attending both primary and secondary school said his younger son was elated to head back out.
The little one in particular, who is 7 years old, he is so excited. He started jumping up this morning and he is ready to roll. So it feels really, really, really good. And it feels even more good to see him, how happy he is to come back out.
Students in Tobago will return to school tomorrow, Wednesday.
In Barbados, it is believed that game fishing can contribute to the local tourism industry and the greater economy. CBC Barbados has the details.
Game fishing is a sport which draws visitors to other Caribbean and international destinations, and it is believed it can do the same for Barbados. A local tournament ended Saturday, and one of the organizers told CBC News it has been attracting visitors, some of whom are here from the Caribbean and North America to participate. He pointed out that many stay in local accommodations.
Some of the foreign vessels come in a bit early also, so they'll come in a few days before. They'll practice. And what is good is that they're buying goods from here. They're staying in houses and apartments. Some of them, they don't stay on their big boats. Some of them will stay on their boats. It's huge. I mean, we even have one competitor who expressed interest in even buying a property here so that he could fish here more regularly.
Ralph White, who is the chairman of the Barbados Game Fishing Association, added that there are so many spin-offs from it, including pushing the Barbados brand.
Sports fishing, the tourism is a huge market, and our event is also a qualifying event for the Offshore World Championships in Costa Rica. So when a team here wins, whether it's Barbados boat or foreign boat, the Barbados tournament name will be listed there, and the team that won in Barbados.
One boat which sailed from Grenada to participate, Irish Cream, has been coming here 11 years. And first mate Godfrey Thomas says the island holds a special pull for him.
We really, really enjoy fishing in Barbados. For the first thing, the security for us, the people, very friendly. The fishing is good, right? And that's the main thing we are looking at. We're looking at the way the people treat us here. The fishing, and it's very nice. So we always here. Every year we still continue coming.
Captain of the Irish Cream, Clinton Bailey, says all that is needed at the jetty are some more amenities and the tourist numbers would rise.
Facilities here that I see now, I am so happy with, right? That is a step in the right direction. Port St. Charles is beautiful, but you got to get the local people involved. Every shop, every bar could benefit from this. In Grenada, that's what we do. When our fishing tournament is on, we have like 40, 50 boats with 5 men on each boat. Think about it. Eats and drinks must take place. And that is what Spice Song need to develop this, put in some electricity and water on either side, and boats will come.
The Grenadians who went shopping at the vegetable vendors and supermarket shared their culture and hospitality with the other crews and visitors to the jetty when they did oil down and fish water. Mr. Thomas said they also shared some of the fish haul with the local community and also gave to charity. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
In sports, this year's In Sports Primary Schools Athletics Championships has been launched with a new format. The ceremony, signaling the start of the championships, was held in the hospitality room of the National Stadium on Tuesday. The popular and much anticipated Primary Schools Championships were last held in 2019. This year, In Sports plans to split the championships into regional competitions, starting with the Eastern Championship from May 2 to May 4 at the Stadium East facility, followed by Central Championship from May 9 to May 11 at the G.C. Foster College. The Western Championship will be held between May 12 to 14 at the St. Elizabeth High School. The competition will have a big national championship from May 26 to May 28 inside the National Stadium. Approximately 120 schools will participate. And with that, we call an end to today's newscast. On behalf of our entire news production team, thank you so much for watching.